So you need somewhere to store your router bits, and you're looking for something kind of unique. How about this? Check this out. I'm going to start off the project at my CNC by cutting out the holder parts that are for the bits. I did 6 6-inch circles, 3 of them to hold my 1/4-inch router bits and 3 of them for the 1/2-inch ones. These smaller circles that I'm working on now will allow me to attach the bigger ones to the metal pipe. Now I'm just spending a bit of time right now sanding the tabs off of the plywood that came off the CNC. So for this build, I did use my CNC a bit, but the whole thing can be done with limited tools actually. Cutting circles you could do easily with the jigsaw, or you could whip this quick jig up I'm doing right now and attach it to the bandsaw. To get my full 6-inch circle, all I do is measure over 3 inches from the bandsaw cut. Drill a hole and countersink for a bolt. Add some double-sided tape to attach it to the bandsaw table. Drop the blank over the bolt and start cutting. A perfect circle. I'm adding a bit of edge banding to make it look pretty. Now I'm starting to get it ready to attach it to the pipe. I mark 2 spots for 2 holes over to the drill press to drill those holes. A bit of glue and some brads to attach it to the big holder part. And here I'm measuring to make sure each one of these will be perfect. I cut a spacer out on my miter saw. This is where I use it to make sure each one of the holders is perfectly spaced up the pipe. Adding some screws so they go right through into that pipe. And how about a plywood shish kebab minus the paint? That's coming up later. Now it's on to breaking down the material and getting the pieces ready for the cabinet part. I'm adding some rabbets on the sides for the plywood back. As for the top and the bottom, they're made out of 2 separate pieces glued and nailed together to give the pipe extra support. So I'm back at the CNC to cut out the hole for the pipe. That could easily be done with a inch drill bit and a little bit of sanding. So not necessary, but walnut added to anything that has none looks nice. So I'm drilling some holes for some plugs. Some glue and screws for the sides. And I'm adding a little bit of wax to make sure that the center part spins perfectly. If you dig what you're seeing so far, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for tons more shop projects and home ones too. The back goes on. And some poplar edge banding to cover up the plywood and make it look nice. And again, I'm using my 3/8-inch Forstner bit for some plugs that aren't necessary to the build, but they'll add a little extra to it. I love this plug cutter that I have. It adds the perfect taper onto the plugs. so they fit in the holes nice and snug. Now onto the door, just measuring it, cutting the pieces out. And some more of that poplar trim to cover up the plywood edges. For this project, I'm using some concealed European hinges, and I'm just using this simple jig, a 35mm Forstner bit, and yeah, it works out pretty good each time. This is a good little tip when you're adding Euro hinges to a cabinet. What I do is I cut a piece of the material the same length as the door, put the hinges in it, and it's super easy to mark and drill and screw in. Drilling the holes for the handles. Some finish sanding. And now it's time to add the French cleat for the back. So, what do you think? Is this something that you would build for your workshop?